Welcome to a fresh new year as Quad Radio kicks off the 2015 season a little later than our calendar 2015, but nonetheless, it's been a rough and rocky winter here on the home front, but things are certainly starting to look bright as far as the future is concerned, and one of the writers that is looking for a bright future right now is, one of the guys, they say it's on fire. Walker Fowler's on fire, and we say hello and welcome to Walker Fowler from beautiful, sunny South Florida. How's things going during this training season, Walker?
Hey, Mr. Rodney and Quad Radio World. Hope everyone's doing good. South Florida, man, it's a good place to be right now, I'll tell you that.
I can imagine. I know up here where I'm at in Ohio, it's been cold. We get these freeze and thaw effects, but as far as where I'm at in particular, we've barely gotten any snow. I know up north where you're from, man, you guys have gotten pounded up there a few times, at least where your mom and dad are anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's their weather has been pretty crappy too. Like you said, cold and kind of miserable, and definitely, ironically, we had more snow at Thanksgiving than we did for Christmas, which happens about every year. But it stinks. A couple nights ago, I think they got another 4 or 5 inches. So, it stinks for them, but I'm happy to be where I'm at.
How deep's the sand where you're at, Walker?
Really deep. It's actually all beach sand, and it has no bottom to it. It just goes and goes, and then you hit water.
Well, tell us a little bit about it, man. What's going on? I know you're coming off of probably a season that you had worked for and hoped for, but were, I'm sure, as shocked and surprised to see it all come to fruition as quickly as it did as far as making that huge bid for the championship. I mean, it was probably one of the greatest seasons I've ever witnessed in ATV GNCC racing. And first and foremost, I just want to say congratulations and thank you for that, Walker. That was a spectacular year back in 2014.
Yeah, well, thank you first off. And yes, I was, honestly, I was shocked. Let's just run clear back. We'll go to Florida, and I felt prepared. I felt ready. I had trained my butt off, and same thing. Usually every year at round one, you feel like you're in the best shape of your life, and got off the machine there, and with a third place finish, and I was satisfied. Podium finish at Florida is always my goal. It's the same goal I have for 2015. We go to Georgia and get a win there. Second race of the year, get a win. Didn't let Chris get on a win streak right off the bat, so that was nice. And I love that track, and it was cool to finally get a win there. And got a lot of fans around that area, so like I said, it was just awesome, cool feeling, especially the year prior. To come up short and have to push the machine across. That wasn't any fun. So it was cool to actually finish on my four-wheeler this time. Let's see. We go to round 3, and the wheels just fell off of it pretty quick right there. Got a 15th place. Just rode horrendous. And, we lost some ground there. Quite a bit of ground, actually. And go to Big Buck. I get beat. Go to Limestone. Get beat. Pretty much both on the last lap. And, just struggling to find, what I was missing because, we started the year off so strong.
Yeah, and, you look at it from that perspective right now, Walker, and you think, wow, I mean, to think that it ended the way that it ended was kind of miraculous in a way, and in a sense, I would think, man, because at this point, you're a little behind the 8 ball. The championship is looking like it's just like slipping away, and Chris is, good, consistent. I mean, you got good, consistent rides. Obviously, you had that 115th, but, I mean, it's just a wild way this all panned out from about this point on.
Yeah, absolutely. I was having one of my more consistent years, but the problem was I was still getting consistently beat by the same guy.
Yeah.
So, that you can't let that happen. And, finally at round, round 7, I got a win at Masontown, and, that kind of changed a lot for me. That kind of brought us back into the swing of things. Chris had racked off 4 wins in a row. And So it was a hole to dig out of, but it was cool to
It
get a
was
win
a whole,
finally.
and there came a double-edged sword with that race, Walker, because that's the infamous one where all that craziness took place there at the finish line when you and Chris had the little crash and the folks got hurt and everything. And I know that, it was a racing incident, and I'm not trying to point anything out about that. But what I do want to point out is coming into the next round, man, I'm sure that had to be weighing on both your and Chris's mind. So being, already kind of behind the eight ball, even though you'd taken the win and that was a great high, you had that little monkey, I think, a little bit on your back heading into the next round, I would think.
Oh, absolutely. The Cleveland family, the Williams family, Hooper, all the families, affected by the crash. You definitely, you're pumped that you won the race, and at the same time, you can't even really think about, how cool it was to win because of how it ended, really.
Right.
So that definitely kind of, it was one of those ones that was like, wow, I'd rather just not win than have all these people, that got, in the long run, as severely injured as it really was. Hooper's still not healed properly, and Chad Williams is still not healed properly. Excuse me. Goodness. But it's you honestly do have to put it behind you. We all we worked it out. Racer to racer, and then with Racer Productions as well, and did try to make it as right as we could. It was a racing incident. It wasn't anything intentional on either rider's part. And you kind of have to put it behind you, and that's a really hard thing. You're kind of seeing that in Supercross right now too, with with Trey Kennard and Chad Reed.
Right.
If you have any chance to salvage your season, or you really gotta put it behind you. And it's not an easy thing to do, because I know both of us take a lot of stuff really personal. So we go to John Penton, and I actually got like the flu the night before. It was terrible. Wake up and just could not even function. Slept literally until I had to get on the starting line, which was pretty awesome because I like sleeping. I just wish I didn't have to be sick to do it. But no, for real, just really, I had zero intentions of even finishing the race. Honestly, I felt so horrible, and we got out on the track, got a decent start, and things just started going my way, and you just kind of got to roll with it. And I'd say the first hour, honestly, completely forgot I was even sick. You just get in a rhythm and get in a groove, and it's just like nothing could stop me that day. Kind of needed to prove a point, for myself mostly, and then the sickness thing comes on, and you're like, oh my gosh, how am I even gonna finish this race now? I have a decent lead, and I'm gonna throw it away because I can't even hold my head up now. But we finished it and got two in a row, and that was the first time that a rider had won two races in a row, other than Chris Borich, since Adam Gill in 2008.
Wow.
So that was that was a big game changer for me to know that I could go, and obviously Chris had a DNF that was kind of uncharacteristic, but he kind of had a struggle race the whole time, so who knows where he would have finished regardless. But either way, to be sick and still have a stacked field of riders and come out with that win, that was a big moment for me. Only to go to snowshoe, snap a chain, and lose all the points that I made up.
Yeah,
so
I can remember the high.
It was.
What was it, like 7 points or something like that heading into it?
Yeah, we had narrowed it back down to 7 or 8 points, and then lost it all and was 38 or something back again. So,
and then came the long summer break.
Exactly. Then comes the long summer break. So not only did you have like two of your best races, arguably, it followed into what could have been another win, maybe. I don't know. Who will know? And then to DNF it and have to sit all summer long stewing on what things that may or could have been, and you just have to use it as motivation at that point, and it did help because I was not happy. It wasn't the chain's fault. it wasn't like swallowed. It was just a really, I don't know how it happened. It was really dumb, but good motivation. So we
It was
work our butt
snowshoe.
off.
It was snowshoe. That's all you
It
can
was
say.
it. Yeah, it's just one giant rock, and you're just smashing the machine off of it, I guess, the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we come back from break and we just picked up right where we left off, basically, and the rest is definitely history. To get 3 wins in a row, another one in my home state in Ohio to tie the championship with a stacked field of riders with my whole family there and everything, awesome. And then and then they had that forced the entire family and all my friends and stuff to have to come to Indiana too, because who was going to miss that race?
No doubt. Now that one, I mean, historically speaking, coming into that one, I think it'd been 21 years or something like that we had calculated that the championship had come down to basically what we saw between you and Chris for that final round. And I mean, honestly, going into that one, I mean, a lot of hype, a lot of pressure for you and the then 5-time GNCC champ Chris Borch. I mean, I know a lot was weighing on both of you because that was the first time Chris had ever been against the wall like that. And this is the first time you'd ever been in a position like this that, the championship was a reality at this point heading into this. And you were literally basically just 2 hours away from possibly being crowned the new GNCC champion.
Woo. See, when you put it all like that, same thing. You just kind of get psyched for next year. Yeah, we had a good year, and to have it all come down to these last 2 hours, and that not be like Chris has to get an 18th and I have to win, or it was literally whoever beat who. Tie game, wipe that whole season clean, forget about it. Just awesome. It was such a cool experience, and just to be the rider in 21 years with Chris that was that was a part of it. It was so cool. Like there is no. You can't explain it how cool it really was.
And how old are you again?
22.
22. So wow, this basically in your entire lifetime, it was like you were born right around that time.
Exactly. Yeah, I maybe saw it, but I don't remember. Barry Haku? No.
Give me that bottle. Change my diaper.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So tell me, what was it like sitting there on the starting line? I mean, just take me through that whole scenario right there, because I know there's a process. If I'm not mistaken, you and Chuck LeMaster, the GNCC pastor from Team Faith, always have a little prayer or whatever. And I mean, from that point on, man, I mean, it was basically game on, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And, again, I just can't thank Chuck enough for coming over and praying with us, because that is the calm before the storm, really. That's our last, get to, bow my head, close my eyes, and kind of not think about anything for a moment or two. So that's, really, we really appreciate that. And it's like a little bit of peace before the storm again. But it was so wild, that whole race, man. That was crazy. Gosh, it was so cool. Again, let's take it back to the beginning again. Just the start line, seeing how many people were actually there. Can't explain it, because even the pictures and the GoPros, I mean, there were people everywhere. And no one has ever seen anything like that at a GNCC race. Everyone that you talk to still to this day is just mind blown at the amount of people that were there.
On top of the pressure that you had for the championship, now you're looking at that massive crowd.
Yeah, it's the same thing. The stage is set in front of the largest crowd that a GNCC's ever had for the tightest race that they've arguably ever had. It just keeps getting more pressure. But you know what? We did a good job. But I think Chris and I both, kind of putting it, kind of on the back burner, and we just went out and we both did our job. And boy, did we put on a show. Again, for whatever reason, if anyone hasn't seen that race yet, you should. I didn't win or nothing. Not saying go watch me win, but I still watch. I watched it last night. It's just a good race. We had a good time.
Man, I'm going to tell you, I really, it was amazing that final couple of miles. I mean, that final lap. I don't know how many times you guys swapped back and forth as far as positions were coming, but when you came down through the pit road just a couple of miles before the finish line, it was like you were having the time of your life. I know you were envisioning taking that win, but I know you knew you had the fight of your life still ahead of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Until you cross that finish line, the race isn't over. And I think at that point, there's maybe a mile and a half from maybe a mile from the pit area to the finish line, and I actually did have a little bit of a gap built up, and was in the lead, and that was a really cool moment. But same thing, it's like as much as I'm fist pumping and yelling and having a good time, it's like, oh man, this is still got a mile left because a mile ago we just passed each other 6 times or something. So, and then the mile before that was just as many.
And there is that element in the back of your mind that Chris Borich always seems to, and though he hadn't been doing it as of late, he was still capable of that last moment pass.
Oh yeah, you can't count him out on that one. And same thing, I have a little bit of lead build up. We drop over, so we do the field section for the last time, drop over the hill before the Twin Hills, that they call it, which literally you go to the top and you're on the motocross track, and that's kind of the infamous spot. And coming down the hill, I caught a lap rider, nowhere to go. He really didn't want to be in front of me, but he had nowhere to go. So I just had to wait, and then I look back, and Chris, same thing, can't physically get any closer. He's looking over in the weeds trying to get a line to get around me, and we take off again, go up the hill, basically side by side, get on the moto tracks, basically side by side. And I just, was just telling myself, as long as you hit all your marks, your bike's good enough, you're good enough, you're going to be able to hold them off. Just hit your marks. And pretty much as I'm thinking, must have been throttle instead of slow down. And I launched off this little single jump, and I knew it was there. And if you watch, Chris sets up a lot differently for it, and I landed square in like a Toyota truck size hole. And I don't know how I didn't crash, but thank goodness I didn't, because that would have been a really, really big crash. But go off the track, aiming for the fence, come back on the track, all in a millisecond, and Chris is basically jumping past me on that uphill triple jump. And I had that inside, which you didn't want to be on the inside. The outside had been good all race. So same thing. I'm just trying to do damage control now, and kind of bouncing over the rollers, trying to like look over and stay on the track for myself and figure out where Chris is at. And I look over, and it looked like he kind of stopped for a second, which of course he didn't. But everything at this point is going so fast but so slow. And it was like, oh my gosh, what just happened? I got a chance again. Come off the jump. I figured I'd be a couple bike lengths behind. I'm actually still ahead. And, we jump side by side. I get over the jump a little bit more clean, the tunnel jump. And should have went to the inside, but I couldn't get the wheels on the ground, and I couldn't tell my fingers to do what they needed to do. And we both came into that. It was the hairpin, and we both came in there with a head of steam, and there was a hay bale, and I sure found it quick. Chris definitely helped me into it, but I would have done the same thing, and but I couldn't, because I had screwed up. It was my mistake. I messed it up, and I lost that race.
Right.
So that's on me, and hopefully, so we'll just finish it out. We go 3 corners, and thought I had a decent run on them. Obviously, never going to give up till you cross the finish line. And I did get into the back of Chris a little bit, but I just it was cool, and I think he understands why. But it was just a little love tap to kind of give him a high five. It was pretty cool. The bikes were wedged together, and we give him a hug, and to have the now 6-time champ tell you did a heck of a job. That was so fun, and he's not mad that I just broke his exhaust off, and I'm not mad that I just lost the championship. That was really cool. It really was. It was a special moment, in my career and as a racer in general, and for probably the racing world.
Right.
And still, I'm not salty about it at all. I rode a heck of a race, had a great year, and I'm looking forward to hopefully it coming down to that again.
Yeah, that for sure was certainly good for our sport. There's no doubt about it. A record-breaking crowd, a record championship battle right down to the wire, and I thank both you and Chris for providing that season, and in particular that Ironman GNCC battle. That was spectacular. But moving on, man. I mean that's obviously fuel for 2015, and being down in South Florida in that deep, deep sand that you're talking about, it's got to be putting you through the workouts right now.
It definitely is, man. In the machines, a lot of clutches, but it's a good place to be right now. We have we're staying at the Cool Richardson compound. Dave and Lisa were gracious enough to allow me to stay here, so I can't thank them enough for letting me do that. It's a good location. There's quite a few places to ride down here actually, and that's something that we haven't usually had in the past. There's 5 tracks now within an hour, and 3 of them
Wow.
are within 20 minutes. So that's actually,
That
that's a
that is
really
real
good.
good. I know the last few years, it seems like a lot of the tracks have been closing to you guys because you've been just pounding those places.
And not to say that that's not still going to happen, but at the moment there are 5 that we can go to.
Yeah,
But
but
what's
go
that?
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it's a shame that the machines, we do ride for usually at least an hour, and when it's myself and Cole Richardson and we have Landon Wolf down here, Josh Merritt's down here, Cole's buddy Brett Cover is down here, my buddy Luke Barker's down here for a couple days. When you get guys that all are riding 4-wheelers and all at a pretty darn fast pace, it does tear up the ground a little bit. So if we could all somehow make a little thank you note to the tracks, thanks for letting us come. Sorry, it's literally worth maybe even paying a little extra so that to keep the doors open, because what we do does tear up the ground, and it's too bad.
Right. I agree. But hopefully those guys, like you say, man, they figure that out, and they start figuring out ways to combat that, as the GNCC has with all the reclamation and everything. But nonetheless, man, I mean, big season ahead of you. I know we've been talking for a while, and I'm sure the folks that are listening are excited about what Walker Fowler has to offer for 2015. I know a great new season ahead of us, a couple of new venues. Your program, I believe, pretty much has stayed the same, if I'm not mistaken, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, quite a few of our big name sponsors are back. The whole NFAB Emperor Yamaha team is staying the same as far as the ATV side goes. A little bit of changes up on the bike side, but that's Randy Hawkins is back with us for our 3rd year now. I got a 2-year contract extension, so apparently I'm doing my job. It's been a really good team. It's been a big learning curve for us. After we had left Balance Racing, and those guys have taught us so much. Can't thank those guys enough. And Brock Booth, his mechanic skills were great, and it's awesome to see him coming back with Bryson Neal this year.
Yeah.
Can't be any more excited for those guys. Anyway, yeah, the NFAB Emperor Yamaha team's good. Me and Cole are, staying in our respective classes again. Maxxis Tires is a huge sponsor of ours. It's coming back, so obviously we're real excited about that. Lone Star Components and are just, really most of the sponsors are coming back, and if they're not, there's Randy had a vision of where we needed to take things, and we have a replacement lined up. So it's it's been good. So everything is pretty much handled. I think we're actually doing our photo shoots for posters and stuff next week, which we've never had new posters for Florida, and to have pretty much everything done already and dialed in and having posters a month sooner than we ever have, I think that kind of tells where we're at. We're trying to be ahead of the game and get stuff done, man.
That's great, man. Sounds like everything's rolling in the right direction, and 2015 is going to be as exciting as ever, I think, with the program that you got. Now, two more quick questions. I hate to do this, but quickly, you've heard the rumors. Chris Borich, you've probably seen the pictures and everything. Chris Borich is contemplating a possible move over to the Blue Machine from what, well, I've talked to him. He's not denying it. He is testing it, and seriously right now. What's your take on that and him making that bike switch? I mean, does that make you feel good? Does it give you the opportunity to think, man, I've got one up on him in this department, hopefully? Or is it like, the ground's going to even up that much more as far as machines are concerned?
Absolutely. It has its ups and its downs, its pluses, minuses. But in reality, whatever Chris Borsch decides to throw a leg on or throw a leg over, come March 7th, he's going to be fast and he's still going to be the guy to beat. So whether it's a Yamaha or a Honda or a Suzuki or a Kawasaki, he's still the man. As far as the Yamaha goes, I'm actually kind of happy that, obviously something has sparked his interest in the machine.
Right.
And, that is, as far as just, Yamaha riders are supposed to try to promote Yamaha and make people buy Yamahas. And to make someone that has won 6 championships on a Suzuki seriously contemplate, and I'm not saying it was, my doing by any means, but when that guy is considering the Yamaha, it must not be a real bad machine.
Well, I mean, you look at the big picture, you got you on a Yamaha who has challenged him more than anyone in recent years, and of course you've got Chad Wienen, who is an ATV motocross champion several times over on a Yamaha. I mean, and then Chad comes to the Ironman with a bulletproof ATV. He does very well there. Obviously, he's looking at it and thinking, wow, maybe this thing is not too bad.
Exactly. No, not too bad. It's definitely more like maybe this thing's absolutely phenomenal. I'm a little biased, though.
well, that's good, man. So at least you're doing your job, obviously. So that's how you got that 2-year extension. That's for sure. So that's really good news. My last question is, with that group of guys you got down there and being in your age group, I am sure there's some shenanigans going on. Any funny things, any fun things, cool things that you can let the cat out of the bag on down there going on?
We do have a fun group of guys for sure. You got to have fun. At least I do, to an extent, or else I just lose my mind. The one year I stayed with Taylor, and I hope Taylor listens to it. It was a lot of, we did have fun, but he was a very serious guy. We, took what we were doing very serious, and I kind of did get burned out once the season started. And but you know what? I was in the best shape of my life at that point because he absolutely worked me to death. Waking up really early and getting on the bicycle while the sun's still coming up.
Wow.
Then getting off the bicycle after 20 to 50 miles depending upon the day. And then going to ride Thundercross or going to ride our local riding spot down here in near Alva, Florida. And then coming home and wrenching on the bikes, and then pretty soon you look at the clock and it's midnight. Now you got to be up at 6 a.m. again, and he, like I said, he definitely treated it like a business, and it was a really good thing because it showed me that ATV racing can actually have a structure. But I have to take a time here and there and do my thing, and luckily in the years following that, I've kind of figured out how to mesh the two together and find a program that works well for me. Yes, these guys are a lot of fun, but we are being really, really serious most of the time. But like the other day or yesterday, actually, we finished up wrenching on the bikes, fixing to go ride, and it was like, hey, I don't really know how to get there. All right, neither really do I. So I was jumping on my. Or actually, it's Dave's, not mine. I wish I had one. I kind of want one now. Yamaha Zuma 125 scooter, and Landon, he has a little Honda Grom, and Brett jumped on his other one. We rip into town, get some Subway, rolling in there with our dirt bike helmets and our goggles and our riding gloves on, getting off these little tiny baby scooters. The UPS guy gives you a high five when you walk in the door. You know you're doing it right. and then go ride them, down the trails until we find where we're supposed to be riding at. And that was a blast. And these guys, the other night when I picked my buddy Luke up from the airport, come with you on a trip, listen to music and just chatting about life. They're fun. It's a good group of guys. We have a good time.
Well, that's good, man. I hope you guys stay tight like that forever, and I'm sure you're building some great memories, and hopefully you'll have some good stories, some funny stories to tell us once the season starts, and maybe we'll have a chance to check in with you just before the season gets underway, Walker.
Well, I'd be honored to be on Quad Radio again for sure. It's a good time.
It is a good time. Walker, I just want to say thank you and wish you good luck this training season, and as well good luck in the upcoming racing season, man.
All righty, Rodney. Thank you so much again for having me in the Quad Radio world. Hope you're getting rested up and ready to go for 2015 because you're going to need all the rest and nerve calming down that you can get because it's going to be a wild year. See you guys there.
See you guys there. That's Walker Fowler. I'm Rodney Tomlin. This is Quad Radio.